Take Mitsubishi's bread and butter car, give it a little rat motor, and just about the coolest gearbox made. That's the Lancer Ralliart. Not quite an Evo, but it still makes us want to check the tech. This little beast is made for the person who wants to pretend they're a rally driver on public roads. So, not a huge amount of tech, especially in our particular car, which doesn't have any options. So imagine, if you will. This is the base audio unit, single slot CD right there, AM, FM, auxiliary in, but notice how interesting that is. Instead of using an aux jack, they decided to make it complicated and give you a pair of RCAs, red and white. Now, I don't see the advantage to that, although it's a little more sturdy of a connector, but that's just weird. Oh, tricky thing about getting your aux jack to actually come up. Do you see an aux button anywhere? Take a look. No, I didn't either. Consulting the manual tells me you stand on the CD MP3 button for 2 seconds. Beep. And there's your aux coming up. No HD radio, no iPod adapter, no USB connection. There's no hard drive in this unit. Now, if you do option up the navigation rig, there is a 40 gig hard drive in there and a music server, so that would be nice. This unit has 140 watts. It's got 6 speakers around the cabin. It's fine. You've got a fair amount of DSP functions here. You got your usual bass, mid, treble, fader, and balance, but then if you go to this first menu, you do have these DSP profiles. And for a middle ground between this base unit and the full-blown nav hard drive unit, you can get this in a 6-disc internal. So a modest improvement there, and it does play MP3 discs as well as standard audio CDs. The Lancer Ralliart comes standard with Bluetooth hands-free, which should be baseline on any car above 20 grand these days, so luckily it does have it. This is the gearbox. Looks kind of like an automatic, kind of like a manual, because it's kind of both. It's one of their twin-clutch SST gearboxes. Mitsubishi does these dual-clutch automated manuals really well. You've got a standard gate. On the left side here, you can select your gear individually. And of course, when you're in drive, you've got your paddles up here, which feel like metal. In fact, they tell us they're magnesium. Now, why, I don't know, but it's kind of cool. 2 other buttons down here are part of the allure of this car. This little silver rocker is your sport or normal selector. That's going to reshape the behavior of the engine transmission combo. And then right here, you've got your active center differential control. This is a real Mitsubishi thing. You've got 3 modes there that show up on the display. Tarmac is pavement, of course, in this continent. Then you've got a gravel mode and a snow mode. What that does is reshape the behavior of a very sophisticated center differential in this car that is hydraulically and electronically operated, picking up sensor input from all around the drivetrain, wheel spin, yaw, steering wheel angle, all of that kind of information, and telling the car how to bias the power front to rear. Now, graciously enough, Mitsubishi provides this lovely buffet table back here. And unfortunately, it's standard. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. This is kind of a prosaic looking car, kind of like for, you know, the person who has to have a family sedan but wants a little sports car. But do they really want this thing past the age of 20? I don't know. Now, this little motor's got a lot of work to do. 3,500 pound car being pushed around by a 2-liter inline 4, but of course, it's turbocharged with an intercooler. You can see the turbo back there by the exhaust, some of your plumbing to get up to the intercooler right here. 237 horsepower, 253 foot-pounds of torque. Pretty good, but again, kind of a heavy car. Nonetheless, 0 to 60 happens in 5.8, and the mileage is pretty good, 1725. On the road, the Lancer Ralliart rewards you taking charge. If you leave it in normal mode and standard drive, you're reminded all the time this is basically a putt-putt motor with a turbo. But get into sport mode and or shift it yourself to keep things all spooled up, and this car is transformed into a great big toy. Mitsu's TC SST twin-clutch automated manual is so far my favorite gearbox of that type. It has virtually none of the weird bulkiness you find in virtually every other car maker's automated manual, and just plain super sharp shifts. No, they don't all do that. It's almost funny how high-strung this car gets in sport mode. It just about refuses to come down below 3 grand RPM and is eager to do one of those little automated throttle blip downshifts at the least provocation. Yeah, you'll be grinning like an idiot. And this one has the shift paddles in the right place, nailed to the steering column. Okay, let's price our Lancer Ralliart, about $26,600 base. Kind of a not-so-cheap date. Navigation system with the hard drive, the 40 gig drive and the music server is $2,000 more. $2,750 is your other consideration for the Recaro package. That'll get you the Rockford Fosgate audio, 6-disc CD. You also get the high-intensity discharge headlights and the Recaro seats, of course. That's that weird mixed bag.